If you've had any experience with the Tekken series in the 30 years of its life, you know exactly who Kuma is. I feel like everyone had a moment in their lives when they first discovered the series. Here you are just playing or watching one of the games for the very first time, and you see this, a big brown bear who looks incredibly out of place. I'm sure some of you guys watching first saw Kuma when he looked like this, and if that's you, I'm sorry, that must have been terrifying. This character has gone through a lot, appearing in every Tekken game since the original. Well, technically this bear is actually the father of the Kuma we see today, and only appeared in Tekken 1 and 2 before dying of old age or something? I don't know, the lore is complicated. It's a bear, okay? He's a bear, he's the Tekken bear, and that's all you really need to know. He's become an incredibly popular character in recent years, mainly just due to how funny he is. I mean, what other fighting game just takes itself super seriously and then has an actual full-size bear just walking around beating people up? The concept itself is crazy. He's been a part of Tekken for so long that it's just normal to most of us, but imagine how funny it is to someone who doesn't get it. He's just a bear. He gained a ton of popularity in recent times with all the memes going around. The huge YouTuber Video Game Donkey has made a ton of comedy videos playing the character, and it's always hilarious to watch. Kuma isn't just funny because he's a bear, he's funny because of his moveset. He has some of the weirdest, most random moves out of any character, second only to Yoshimitsu. He'll spin around on the floor, lie flat on his back and swipe you, he'll start doing a random dance. It's just the last thing you would expect in a fighting game so focused on martial arts. Throughout Tekken history, Kuma, and his clone Panda, have been in a weird place when it comes to their reputation. They've pretty much always been loved by casuals because of, again, how funny they are, and the impact of videos like the ones Donkey makes. But they've also been pretty hated by slightly more serious players in the community. Let's be honest, they're very frustrating to fight against in ranked. Their bears have always been one of the biggest matchup checks in the game. If you haven't labbed the characters, they're gonna hit you with a million random moves you've never seen before, and you're gonna lose. And this was historically made even more annoying because, well, the character kinda sucks. They've always sucked, being ranked almost absolutely last on every tier list they've been on, and that made losing to them feel way worse. The characters did well online, as all gimmicky matchup check characters tend to do, but he's never been a problem for pro players. He's always been considered too gimmicky and limited to be a major threat in competitive play. Even after the pro player rank choose absolutely incredible tournament results with Panda throughout the life of Tekken 7. This guy was beating everyone with Panda, and even after all that, pro players still considered the bears to be the two worst characters in the game. Rangchu was just built different. He didn't care how bad Panda and Kuma were, he was gonna beat everyone regardless. And coming into Tekken 8, it seemed like he was rewarded for that loyalty. What if I told you that the biggest joke character in Tekken history, the one who's famous for being a troll, who Donkey rolls and spins around with on the ground, is somehow considered a high tier here in Tekken 8 for the first time in the series? It's absolutely insane seeing him higher than so many characters, higher than Lily, Kazuya, and Lars, and all of these guys depending on which tier list you look at. How did we get here? What makes him so much better than before? And how was Panda left behind, despite supposedly just being a clone of Kuma? What makes Kuma so incredibly strong now? I decided to find out, and after extensive research and spamming bear electrics in ranked, I think I figured it out. So let's talk about it. What made Kuma bad in previous games? Well, it would probably actually be easier to talk about what didn't make him bad, because there really was so little. He's huge, one of the biggest characters in the game, meaning he gets hit by absolutely everything. He'll get hit mid-sidestep, mid-backdash, everything. His hurtbox is just massive. This also means he got comboed differently than any other character. A lot of characters' combos actually didn't even work properly on him because of his size, so most characters had bear-specific combos and wall combos, which almost always were far more deadly, putting bear players at an even bigger disadvantage. He was super unsafe, he had horrible movement, he really just lacked everything. Basically, he relied on heavily catching you off guard, and you as a player not knowing how to deal with his gimmicks. If you did, he'd be pretty useless. So what's changed in Tekken 8? Well, to be honest, pretty much all these weaknesses are still intact, but he's been made stronger in two core ways. The first of which is something I'm sure you've all heard people talk about a lot: the butt. Kuma has been given absolutely broken damage in this game. He's currently tied for the best damage in the game right now with his master, Heihachi, in my opinion. If Kuma launches you, you're taking like minimum 110 damage, and I see 120 combos and above with him like all the time. His damage in general is just broken. But if Kuma manages to get you to the wall, good night. Kuma and Panda have the best wall combo in the game. You get your opponent to the wall, press down forward 1-2, 1+2, and then it smacks your opponent right in the ground, giving you a guaranteed down 1+2, aka the butt. This is simply too broken. It gives Kuma a 36 damage wall ender. 36 damage. It's just way too much. Sorry to quickly interrupt this video, but if you guys are enjoying this and want to see more longer scripted Tekken 8 content like this in the future, please consider subscribing to the channel. It goes such a long way in helping me fight the YouTube algorithm and work towards my dream of hopefully one day doing this as a full-time job. Only about 21% of the people who watch my videos are actually subscribed, though it really is a big help. It's free to do, and it only takes 1 second of your time. Thank you so much, and let's get back to the video. You're constantly playing in fear against the bears in this game, because you know that if they launch you, you're losing 70% of your health relatively often. The butt is just too much. They also get a guaranteed butt off of the unbreakable throw from stance, which has no reason to be in the game still. But what else makes them so good? Well, most people agree that Kuma's heat is pretty broken. He gets access to some insane tools, and benefits from chip damage more than almost any other character in the game. Seriously, no one talks about how good Kuma's chip damage is, and his unbreakable throw, for some reason, gets rid of all your recoverable health. Like, it just completely removes it. Why is this a thing again? There's no reason for this. The real thing you're waiting to hear about is the electric. Yes, Kuma was given an electric in this game that can only be accessed during heat, and it's broken to say the least. It comes out slightly slower than normal electrics, coming out at 15 frames at its fastest instead of the normal 13, but that's the only thing that makes it worse. Besides that, it's the best electric in the game by far. Kuma's electric has ridiculous high crush. He completely ducks down during the animation, avoiding all highs you might press, and this electric is a special mid. That means you cannot duck it. Let me repeat that. This is an electric that you can't duck and will launch you on crouch. Oh yeah, and it gives him access to his most damaging combos by far. You're gonna lose like 70 or even 80% of your life if he hits you off of one of these. The electric can be charged as well, which is extremely good at the wall, giving a +9 and doing major chip damage. It's a ridiculously overpowered move, and thank God he only has it during heat, or he would easily be S tier in this game. Electrics are balanced around being high and duckable, so giving him one that can't be ducked and still has all the same benefits as a normal electric, that being +5 on block, a full launcher, and having huge high crush during the move? Why is this a thing? His heat smash is also stupid. It comes out at 13 frames, which is incredibly fast, and has full tracking for some reason. I thought the developers were trying to remove heat smashes from tracking, and this one doesn't just have a little bit of tracking. It has full tracking. You legitimately cannot sidestep. Trust me, I've been trying for like an hour. So as soon as he pops heat, you just have to sit there and hold block, as he electrics you, chips away at your health, threatens the heat smash at any possible moment so you can't duck, but also threatens you with his stance transition moves. If you're getting chipped out and they're just waiting, he's going to use his unbreakable throw, and you need to avoid that at all costs or you're going to lose like 70 recoverable health. He's a pressure monster, and most people agree that his heat is his biggest quality in this game. If he was always in heat, he'd probably be the best character in the game. This is what separates Kuma from Panda so much. Panda does not have the electric. She instead gets a Xiaoyu shooting star attack in heat, which is kind of mid. I mean, it's a strong heat option, giving +12 on block and a guaranteed mix-up, but it has 0 tracking. Not really that threatening if you ask me. And it takes up a whole third of her heat bar. Her heat smash is also worse, being 2 frames slower than Kuma's. This is a way bigger difference than you might think. Although it does also track, which is good for her. These tools aren't bad, but it's just Kuma's electric and heat smash are so incredibly good that she can't compete. Back to the other heat stuff, they both just have some really good generic options. Back 1+2 is a great heat engager, while running 1+2 as well. They both get a guard break while they're in heat through their Panda roll extension, which is really nice to have and adds to their mix-up game. Basically, Panda is good in heat, and Kuma is a god in heat. These two factors alone, the damage and his heat, pretty much single-handedly shot Kuma up on all tier lists. It sounds weird to say, but it's pretty much just this. I mean, Kuma has decent counter hit tools, and pretty good punishment, but he's kind of always had that. All of Kuma's traditional weaknesses are still here. His lows were even nerfed in this game, but it doesn't matter. When you give a character 1 or 2 broken options like this, it's always going to make them good, and Kuma just proves it. If you ask me, I'm not personally a big fan of Kuma's current design in this game. I just think it's a really weird way of balancing a character, like keeping them bad in almost every possible category and then handing them 2 broken attributes to boost them back up. It just feels lazy, and he feels like an incomplete character. I love the idea of Kuma being strong, that's not the issue, but why not actually take time to do it right in a balanced way? Maybe rethink some of his more traditional weaknesses and just buff him through those. Why not give him better fundamental tools like better poking so he can compete with the rest of the cast? Give him better lows so he can actually get his opponent to block without risking everything. give him better movement. I feel like there's so much they could have done to actually make him a solid, strong Tekken character overall, rather than just giving us the same bad character we've always had. Except he now just does 80% of your health when he combos you and is broken in heat. I don't know, I guess I'm just not really a fan of the all or nothing approach. His strengths are just too much. Even bear players agree that his wall combo should have been nerfed a long time ago. It's not fun fighting a character who basically just 0 to deaths you, and his heat is just too oppressive. It feels like a lot of the time there's no counterplay to some of this stuff. Like when he goes into heat, it feels like you just have to hold back and take the chip damage, or risk ducking and getting hit by an instant full tracking heat smash that does 60 damage. I'd rather they just make him a strong character overall, in all attributes, instead of this character who just has a few insanely high highs and the rest is all lows. But that's just my perspective as someone who's researched the character for this video. I just wish he was better overall instead of being so weak in so many categories and then being broken in 2 specific ones. I'd be very interested to know what you guys think about Kuma and Panda. I'm sure there's plenty of bear mains watching, so how do you feel about them in this game? Do you agree with me that you want them to be good but just don't like the way the developers went about it? Or do you love the way he is in this game and wouldn't want it changed? Let me know in the comments. I'll be down there chatting with you guys as always. And let me know which character you want to see me cover next. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed, make sure to like and subscribe to support more scripted Tekken 8 content like this. And as always, a very big thanks to my YouTube members and Patreon patrons. I couldn't do this without you guys. Quick reminder that I do now have a Discord server. If you guys are interested in asking me questions, chatting with me, and a growing community of Tekken players, feel free to join. The people there are really, really cool. There's a link in the description and it'll be in the pinned comment. Thank you guys again for watching, and I'll see you guys later. Take it easy.